Da, da, da. Da, 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 da. Broke my rhythm.
I'm sorry. I wanted to join in.
No.
Yes.
No.
Maybe. And we're back with another episode of the Lakers Fast Break podcast. It's Gerald Glassford coming right back at you here for the Lakers Fast Break Pop Culture Cosmos, where we cover the latest news and trends in pop culture each and every week, twice a week, wherever you get your podcasts. If you didn't get a chance to check it out, Josh Peterson and I, we had a great conversation on the 4th of July box office. We talked about Beverly Hills Cop franchise and more. So go ahead and check out what we're doing today right there for you at the Pop Culture Cosmos. Joe, maybe it's because you logged in as you and not as me.
Yeah, but why isn't it showing?
I don't know. If you logged in as me, I see it fine.
No, I did log in as you. Did I have to change the name?
Maybe. I don't know. I don't know.
All these apps are just ass right now. I don't know what the hell's going on.
If you open up you can see all the conversation if you just pop up another screen as far as the tab, which is what I do as far as monitoring the chat as well. The best Lakers chat room that's out there is Lakers Fast Break, along with Joe Soro. He is Ox1947. You heard him already at LakersBall.com. Also, as well, he owns a company you need to support out there. And that is Simblades with the Y.com. Am I getting two Joes here? There you go. It's two Joes. Stereo Joe. That was terrible. That was terrifying. Oh my God. It scared me. But again, it is Simblades with the Y.com. We're having lots of fun here tonight on a Sunday night. Of course, also as well, our good friends, Empire Jeff TV, Lakers in 5, the Lakerholics crew of Jamie Sweet. Feel better, Jamie. Also as well, Laker Tom, Lakerholics.com. Stone Hansen at report_court. Big shout out to the legend 350 on YouTube. And of course, John Costa, Clutch Talk and Lakers Corner. John McKaylee, and hope everything is all as well. And of course, Daniel Berry Sports Highlights. Also as well right there for you. But please, while you're supporting them, please support us. We've had some really big audiences this past week. Some of our biggest in a long time. And if you're there, please like and subscribe to get the latest notifications on when we go live on the air, to see that smiling face of Joe Soro right here at the Lakers Fast Break podcast. Joe, how hot was it for you today in Temecula? I was trying to gauge.
It cooled down a little bit today.
Really?
Yeah, it cooled down. It was 103 yesterday, and then today was about 90.
That's like a cold winter's day here in Vegas. The high at the airport was 120. 120 Fahrenheit for everybody out there, because I know we have people all around the world. Big shout out to our Australian, Filipinos out there, all those people out there that are going by a different system. 120 degrees Fahrenheit here in Las Vegas. It's actually 126 in Death Valley. Hottest I've ever been is 121 in Palm Springs. That is hot.
I've read that the hottest recorded temperature
131.
was 1913. I think it was 134.
Yes. Well, 134, you're right. Yes, 134, because it got to 131, I think, earlier last week. Yes. Man, humidity, what's that? I live in Vegas, Tony. I don't even know what that is. It is so hot and it's so dry that there is no... I mean, we had humidity like in December. I think that's the last time we had humidity here in Vegas. But man, let me know in the chat, the best Lakers chat room that's out there, while we're talking the Lakers and your trade proposals and all that stuff. Let me know how hot it is in your neck of the woods out there, wherever you are at in the world. We'd love to hear it. Love to see it. But again, for us here in Vegas, it was 120. So it's getting hot. But I wish the Lakers shooting was hot. I wish the Lakers defense was hot, as the Lakers played earlier today, right there at the California Classic in Northern California, where there it was well into the 3 digits, the triple digits per se. It was actually close to 110 in some areas in Northern California. Pretty darn hot for that area. And if that's the case, what was hot? it was the other team, the Golden State Warriors. The Golden State Warriors. Well, let me just put it to you this way. We were watching the game on playback, and the game was so bad for Lakers fans. My cohort in crime, Josh Peterson on the Pop Culture Cosmos, asked me, do you want to go on early? And I said, yes, I do, because this is painful to watch. Really painful to watch. As the Lakers went down early and went down often, Dalton Connect, 3 of 13, kind of struggled with his shot, got 12 points basically at the free throw line, 5 of 5 there. Tommy Kuhse, 4 of 11. Blake Hinson, 2 of 10. Colin Castleton, 3 of 9. Armel Traore, 2 of 8. Maxwell Lewis, 0 of 8. You see a trend there, everyone? Do you see a trend? Really bad shooting and bad defense on top of it. They couldn't stop anyone again for the second straight day as the Golden State Warriors trounced the Lakers and put it into cruise control early and often, 92-68. And here today to discuss the fact that Bronny James also sat out the game, can't play back to back with a slightly swollen knee. Could be a problem down the road for the Lakers. We'll see. This is a good man indeed. He is, of course, Ox1947 at LakersPub.com, and of course also is the mastermind behind Simblades with the Y.com. He is typing as we speak, right there, Few. It takes a lot to go ahead and talk some smack out there on the keyboards, but of course, it is Joe Sorrell. Joe, it's bad coaching. Yes, it's bad coaching why we lost it by 24 points. Oh my gosh. Yes, a different coach would have made the difference. We would have only lost by 20 or 15. Yeah, there you go. But your thoughts today after another pathetic performance on both ends of the floor this time. The Lakers, they still have one more game left in the California Classic, and I understand it's just summer league and you're there to work on some things and whatnot to connect. Again, I'm looking more for what he'll do here in Vegas because I'm hoping he'll just work out all the kinks by that time and start playing a lot more together by that time. But what I was really concerned with today was A, Bronny James with the knee swelling, and B, Colin Castleton and Maxwell Lewis, guys in their second year, Joe, where they're supposed to step up and really see some production in the summer league because they're experienced, haven't done so. And after Maxwell Lewis's really big burst in that first quarter yesterday, I haven't seen much more from him. And this is another donut for Maxwell Lewis. Your thoughts? Let's start off on the Lakers that are, on the roster or trying to get on the roster in their second year, really not working out so far.
No, the Connect is the only future NBA provider.
He has some flashes that he showed today.
Connect in the right situation at some point will be a very good player. I should say good player, not very good. He could be a very good player, but we only need him to be a good player this year. He's got talent. If he doesn't get injured, he's going to have a career in the NBA. I don't see how he wouldn't. Other than that, I don't see anyone else on this roster, including Bronny James, that belong on an NBA roster. It's just it's a difficult game to play when you're an NBA player. The NBA talent, because you have to factor in size, height, skill, fast twitch. There's so many things that you have to be in the NBA versus football and baseball. You can be Jose Altuve and play in baseball, and these days you can't really be that guy. You can't. You gotta have either freakish athleticism or you gotta have the height and the wingspans and all those things that go with being an NBA player. The shot making is what you notice about the lower end professional basketball player. As I'm watching, of course, as long as any team is playing against the Lakers, they'll make threes all day with really no hesitation. And it's interesting that Dane Johnson, who's the coach for the Summer League, he's pretty much coaching just like how we saw Darvin Ham coach. We're going to find out here shortly. Darvin Ham, by all means, I'm not defending Darvin Ham here. He was terrible. but it's also what we were hoping to see last year and the year before was we were hoping for an identity. And I think we do have an identity now. I think the identity is we suck and we continue to suck. And we're more concerned about people who suck at playing basketball in the NBA to put on your sucky roster. And this is the presentation. Why is it that every game has to be a complete wreck? What are they doing? It's summer league. It doesn't matter. Well, that's your problem, folks. It's the little things. When you're developing an image, when you're developing a personality, you want a culture. You want it to resonate everywhere. They're representing Lakers. It says Lakers, but there's no pride there. And instead, what you're getting a team that looks like absolute trash. That's kind of a precursor to what bigger trash is coming. And of course the interviews that are being talked about is how people are not affected by the noise. Sure, not affected by noise.
And again, Bloodhound, the report was slight swelling on the knee for Bronny James. And that's another thing, Joe. This could have been valuable minutes out there on the floor for his development. Yeah, okay, it's only the second game, but every game at this point should count and should matter, that he can get 20 to 25 minutes out there on the floor in a semi-pro, semi-NBA, G League level type format, but it is more work for him, especially for a guy who didn't have a full college season. So, Joe, your thoughts on Bronny James, or the decision made for the slight swelling on his knee to be the cause for him to be out today?
I don't know. I don't know what happened to him, but I don't really care. I'm watching these games to see what our 17th pick is doing, to be honest with you. I really don't think anyone else is going to be on the roster besides, unfortunately, Bronny. Connect had a really nice dunk today. I think that was the highlight of the night or the day.
Yes. And
that's about it. That's all I'm watching. I didn't watch the second half. I had to leave for an appointment, but I'm focusing on Connect. I'm looking forward to Connect's first 4-point play. I think that'll be a joy to watch once that happens.
Kale's asking, should we sign Kuzi to a contract?
Yes, we should sign Bob Cousy. Yes, we should sign Bob Cousy to back up D'Angelo, because I think he's the only backup point guard that might work.
Dead. He's slightly dead there. Tommy Kuzi. My answer would be no. Remember, he's about 26 already. I think he's 26 or 27. He shot 0 for 6 from beyond the arc today. I know he looked good at times in the first game, but yeah, from what I'm seeing, they need better talent to work with. Armel Traore, not going to get it done. Very rough around the edges. Tommy Kuzi, just, again, you're getting what you're getting already with him. Blake Hinson, he's a shooter, so you are going to go ahead and see 2 for 10 days like this, but he can't defend. He's a really bad defender, and I hope anybody that saw the fact he got 7 personal fouls, Joe, 7 personal fouls, shows you he's not going to be a defender, and that's why he went undrafted in the league, no matter how good he shoots. But again, Joe, I bring it back to Colin Castleton, a guy who this time last year you and I had some hope for, not really getting it done inside. 10 points, 10 rebounds, but really they were going to the layup drill. The layup line was just right by him each and every time these past 2 games. He's done nothing to quell that. Maxwell Lewis today, 0 of 8. This is your second-round draft pick who you've given a guaranteed spot to on the roster as well. These guys, which people were saying, man, they're showing some promise, give them a chance. Well, we've given them a chance. How much longer do you want to really keep it going with these 2 guys, Joe?
Well, Castleton, unfortunately, hasn't been able to improve in terms of his instincts towards the anticipation of the ball coming to the basket. And if you can't do that in the NBA with the guard play that there is, you're not going to be able to play in the league. When you're that size, you have to develop at least something where either you're freakishly athletic like Jackson Hayes, and you can occasionally have a few games during the year where you can catch alley-oops by the dozens.
I mean, the game is so bad, Joe. We're arguing over the 1995 Orlando Magic lineup.
And that was great.
That's how bad.
That was very entertaining. This show is about entertainment.
Big shout out to you, Darren.
It's a show about entertainment, and I trolled Darren to the point where he didn't know who he was anymore. And that was the point. That was the point. I'm not going to continue it here because we all know Darren. We all know Dennis Scott was listed as a small forward, so you're right. And Nick Anderson was a shooting guard, and that's what he was.
But they both, over the course of their careers, played the other position.
Right, but we're talking about the '95 Orlando Magic, and I had mentioned that was that was how you built a team in the '90s. You had the center, you had the power forward, you had a small forward, you had a shooting guard, and you had the point guard. I mean, that was a perfectly constructed team, and if it wasn't for Michael Jordan, I think they would have probably won a championship before Shaq left, and which basically means 1996. And it's looking at it from an NBA standpoint, an NBA fan standpoint. It's unfortunate that they didn't ride the remaining part of the 90s. If they had held on maybe to 99, they might have won in 99. But happy Shaq went to LA. I'm not saying anything bad about that, but that was a fun team to watch, and they still should have won that series. Nick Anderson hits one of those 4 free throws he missed in game 1. Maybe they would have had a chance to do it, but we'll never know. They end up getting swept, and one of many sweeps for Shaquille O'Neal, which puts that's one of those things where it did put a little bit of a negative in Shaq's career. I think a guy that dominant should not have been swept as much as he had been swept.
Roy Estrada, thank you so much for the super chat. He says, time for a nightcap. Been a Lakers fan since 65 and feel like I am in through the light zone. And yeah, it's tough right now, Roy. I can sense, and I saw your other comments as well. Truly appreciate the very kind gesture with the 1999 super chat. Truly appreciate it. It's I could see it in yours, and also growing sentiment, Joe. The lack of movements, the inactivity by Rob. As we toast to you, Roy, truly appreciate it. Joe, I can sense a growing frustration by the Lakers fan base. I mean, we finished where we finished last year, 8th as far as overall record in the Western Conference. Yes, we finished 7th as far as that's concerned, but with the record wise, we finished 8th or 9th. And with that, it just doesn't seem like we got a whole lot better. And there are teams right in the same area and grouping that we are that made efforts to try and get better. Whether they did or not, obviously we'll have to wait and see, but it's concerning. It's concerning, Joe, that this run it back mentality by Rob in the final years of LeBron again may cost us a lot more time and a lot more pain.
Well, I was for running it back plus help. And I said run it back because there's continuity. But you had to have had additions to this, bringing it back. And they have not gotten any additions. They've wasted
Sans Connect and Bronny.
They've wasted our time with a non-NBA player in Bronny James. The rhetoric, the BS, the nonsense, the just trash. Then you overpay Max Christie for no reason, and you don't have anyone waiting in the wings in any summer league, whether it's going to be in San Francisco or Vegas, likely.
And you managed the cap so well that they had to ask LeBron to take a pay cut in order to get under the tax. the second apron?
It's likely that there was a understanding from both sides that if he took care of what he wanted, he'd take care of what they wanted. I would like to think they could have taken care of that on their own by not paying Max Christie $8 million a year. I don't understand what the point of that signing was for that much money for a guy who's not good. I think that might be that will probably be the stamp. At least we know why Bronny's on this team. It's clear what that is, no matter how much these lying assholes deny it. I hate liars to my face. Just tell us the truth. Just say, look, LeBron wants to play with his son. We didn't see a lot of value in the 55 pick, even though you don't have any talent on this team hardly, except top 5. And 3 of those guys are probably better bench players, by the way. But, this is the way it is. But they won't. They will lie. I mean, it's blatantly lying, right? Bronny would have been picked anyways. I mean, come on, really? You guys, are you that stupid, really, to lie that bad? Or do you believe your lies so much that do you think it's true? And that happens. That happens to a lot of liars. That's why I hate liars. Liars will try to convince you that something's the truth and then project when you call them out on it. They'll unfollow you on Twitter, and then they'll tell all their people, oh, this guy's reckless and he's a jerk and don't let him in the parties and all that crap. Okay. Well, right now the Lakers might have a trade in there to unload some salary. They have to sign somebody for their 5.5 MLE, right?
Right now they can't, but once they clear some space,
okay.
Yes.
So are they going to do that? That's a question now. We don't know. And we don't know who's going to take that money yet. Some people are waiting, like the Gary Trent Jr.'s of the world that we talked about earlier today, that they might be waiting on a full 12.8. I keep seeing different numbers. Is it 12.8 or 12.9?
It depends on how far they are in the tax. Sometimes it goes to 11, sometimes 12 from seeing as far as the
so let's just say between 11 and 12 to play it safe.
Low double digits. Let's just say low double
digits. Perfect. So those guys are going to wait it out. They don't need to be in a hurry. It's only been 1 day since people are officially able to sign.
Yes.
And the Lakers look like they're running it back with worse talent than they had last year. Now you're probably looking at me going, wait a minute, Joe, what are you talking about? What if Gabe Vincent is healthy next year? What if Vanderbilt is healthy next year? What if, and if, and if, and if, and if. How many ifs do we go through before we go, oh, this team's going to do things? Because I know for a fact, at least my facts, common sense facts, is that they actually think J.J. Redick is 5 games better than Darvin Ham. They're thinking, oh, this is the same team, but we'll have Gabe all year, and Vanderbilt might not get injured, and you have another year of Max Christie, and LeBron and AD are going to be here, and I'm like, well, how do you know those guys aren't going to bust a tire? Especially if you're going to be playing LeBron and AD in the Olympics.
You're going to have injuries somewhere from some part of your team, right? No team goes unscathed throughout the entire season.
Well, they did last year. AD and LeBron did not get hurt last year.
Well, I meant as far as the actual whole team. There's going to be some player or players that are going to be injured at some point in time.
And if you can't win games, you can't win 5 more games with LeBron and AD on your team and 3 of your guys shooting 40% from the field, then what are we expecting with these guys? Do you really think Max Christie is going to make that much of a difference? Do you think D'Angelo's going to shoot better than he did last year? It's not likely. He's probably going to shoot either worse or the same, right?
42%. How much better can you realistically think he'll get?
Is Austin Reeves going to rebound better because J.J. Redick is going to put him in better spots? Is Rui going to not miss layups because J.J. Redick hasn't prepared? Those are all questions that they have to answer. And you're asking, by the way, a guy who's never coached in the NBA to do this on the biggest stage. and whatever system he has, it's going to take a minute for everyone to get acclimated to it. And you can't wait 20 games in the West. The Lakers have done that the last couple of years, and they've busted. They've busted to the end because they can't get a higher seed. They come out, they're 5-5, they're 10-10, they're 10-12, whatever it is that they are. They're constantly battling to get out of their beginning of the year rut. And if that's the case, again, then it's going to depend on the other teams improving. If Sacramento improved, New Orleans, we have to wait to see what happened with this Brandon Ingram situation. If, let's say, they decide to keep Brandon Ingram, they're still going to be good. You have Phoenix, whom I kind of put in the same level with the Lakers. They have 2 stars on that team. One is good on offense, doesn't play defense, kind of like LeBron. And then you have AD and Kevin Durant, who are usually always available and are pretty productive, but then that's it. That's really all they got. Dallas, they're Dallas. They got to the finals. I don't see how they would drop off that much. I'd say the Clippers are probably the one team that's probably going to drop off the most in terms of the higher seeds from this year. But then you have to worry about the Houston Rockets. Will they improve and start becoming a problem?
LeBron James sat down with ESPN today and addressed the Lakers offseason and the backlash Bronny has already received. He says he doesn't know if people really understand Bronny. He said he doesn't give of course, he really doesn't care. He used expletives as well. It's a father-son deal. And that's the problem, I think, when it comes to what we're going to be seeing. It's a father that really cares about his son, but maybe it's I don't know. It seems like he has a choice. He had a choice to go ahead and put his son on the team ahead of winning a championship, because he's not going to have his cake and eat it too. The way this lineup, the way the roster's being structured, the way the roster's being set, Joe, it just does not look good for the Los Angeles Lakers this season as far as everybody's hopes on being a championship level club. It just does not look like, with this roster, this inactivity by Rob Pelinka, the decisions that were made that were there, it just does not look like that's going to happen.
I think we've already discussed this in detail already. This team is going to crash and burn this year. Bad. And it's due to everything. It's not just one singular thing. It's confidence, it's professionalism, it's focus, it's a want to be something. This team doesn't have that. They're not good at their job. LeBron is good at playing basketball, AD's good at playing basketball, and guys like D'Angelo, Reeves, and Rui are good at basketball, but those 3 would be best on a team off the bench, ideally. They're all 3 6-man type players on a championship contender in terms of using them at their highest level. And LeBron is a one-way player at this point of his career, so he can't really help. And he has very, very bad habits when things don't go his way.
Yeah, I
don't understand what the point of this interview was today. I don't really watch ESPN and interviews anymore. They're kind of counterproductive to me. But I'm trying to understand, what is the point of having this? The fact that you're having this discussion about your son and saying he's not affected by this it only goes to show you that this thing is all in their heads, because they know deep down that they're full of shit. And there needs to be more of a direct response to that. You almost need a Barbara Walters type interviewer saying, LeBron, why are you insulting the public's intelligence that this was? And I shouldn't even say LeBron, because it was more of his lackey, Rich Paul, talking about how there was no privilege here. I'm paraphrasing, Bronny would have had something already if it wasn't. Like, really? I mean, you guys are all full of garbage. You seriously, you're full of shit. Just roll with it. Be honest. Stop being all passive and being a freaking PR BS machine. Just say it. You forced this team to draft your son so you can have your little dream, and you wasted that thought process on something insignificant like that, and look where you are. Look at the results. You couldn't do shit in getting any kind of talent here because you're worried about, let's get this guy who can't play at 55. 55 doesn't matter. Everything is an excuse for everything. It's an excuse for everything. It's just 55. It's just summer league. It's just preseason. It's just the first 10 games. You know what? Stick your excuses up your ass, all of you. Because that's the point. Why do you think guys like Michael Jordan played all 82 games? You think Jordan had to play all 82 games? In 1996, they won 72 games. In 1997, the Bulls won 69 games. In 1998, they won 62 games. You know how many games Michael Jordan played those 3 seasons? Every single game. Every single game. Do you think they really needed him in game 56 during the 96 season? Do you really think they needed Michael Jordan in game 71 or in 98 in game 81 and 82? Did you really need Michael? No, you didn't. But he still played. Why? Because he wanted to kill you. And I remember Kobe Bryant and Derek Fisher were very adamant. I know it was very hard for Kobe to play 82 games every year. It wasn't built like some guys, right? But he tried his darndest, and he did it a few times. But there was a badge of honor that him and Fish would talk about, that they wanted to play all 82 games. Why? Because they wanted to represent, and they wanted to put that personality, that image of we're here to play. Doesn't matter if you're playing the lousy Clippers in their building. Doesn't matter if you're going to Charlotte and playing the Bobcats in their building. We want to tell everyone we're here, and we're here to dominate you, and we don't care if you're not making the playoffs. We don't care if you're worth anything, but this is what we do. We're here to kill you. Instead, what do we have? Well, it's only the 55th. Well, you've gotten 2 series wins in 4 years. So go ahead and well me to death. Well me. Tell me what's going to happen in this next year. You keep doing the same shit for 4 years, and now I'm supposed to go, wait, we're going to do the same shit for the 5th year? We're going to win 55 games. Is that what you're telling me? Where are those things going to come from? From like space? Come on, guys. I appreciate smart. I appreciate smart things, common sense. If you're going to come at me with some intelligent discussions about why this team will be better this year, I'm willing to listen. But at the same time, just come on, guys. Look at what's happened in the last 2 days. It's been the same thing, even at its smallest level. It's over in terms of the excuses. The image is done. Even Dane Johnson, coach of the Summer League, what did he say? He was quoted today saying, we're going to take it day by day. You're going to take what day by day? You just got your ass whipped 2 days in a row. What is this day-to-day stuff? Is anybody going to come out and say, I didn't know what the hell I was doing, and it didn't look like anybody else knew what the hell they were doing. They couldn't make a shot to save their life. A little Jim Mora. Can you throw in some Jim Mora? Honesty every now and then. It does, get
but
some.
Joe, it's just Summer League. That's what you're going to hear.
Okay.
But Joe, it's just Summer League.
Okay. Okay.
Again, when you guys continually see Maxwell Lewis throw up donuts, especially now in his 2nd season, does that not concern you? This is the guy that, so many people I heard last year say, this guy has problems. Stone Hansen, our own Stone Hansen, said this guy's got potential, even more so than JHS. Yet we see the results today. 0 of 8 today in Summer League. That's the fourth donut in 2 years of Summer League that he's thrown up there. Colin Castleton, who, again, he's just on the two-way, so it's just a flyer. Guy that was supposed to hopefully step up now into a regular roster spot. It's a layup drill with him. They go by him like he's a matador. Nobody fears him in the middle of the lane. It's disappointing. And watching him drive the ball to the hoop is like an adventure. It's like Cam Reddish all over again. This is disappointing. And this is Summer League because, Joe, it's summer. The competition is not the NBA level, and they're still struggling in their second year, Joe. The point is that these guys in their second year of doing this should be getting a lot better results.
The sad part is there's three of these players. Granted, one of them is Dalton Connect. I don't know necessarily if I want to throw him in there, but in terms of his position at this point, he's a rookie, so I believe he'll improve as he goes on here in the next few years. But you've seen how absolutely pathetic this showing has been in the last 2 days, and it's scary to say that a quarter of your roster is going to have these players, three guys from this team that are going to be on the roster. They're not two-way players. They're actually on the roster. That's scary. 3 out of really, when you talk about a roster in the NBA, folks, you really have 12 guys. Really, it's actually 10 that are probably going to play, especially during an 82-game season, if you're lucky. 12, then you get to 13, 14. That's when you start getting into those like really, really back-end type players that rarely see the floor unless there's a blowout. But the scary part is 3 of these players on this Summer League roster are actually going to be on the roster. Not two ways, not those deep 14, 15 players. These guys are actually going to be likely looked on to do something. And I don't know how long that's going to last, especially Maxwell Lewis. Maxwell Lewis is terrible.
He is awful. Absolutely awful.
He is terrible. Dalton Connect he's got the skill.
That's his first 2 games.
Correct, but I'm not going to
be too hard on him.
I'm not going to be on hard Connect, and Connect has already shown that he has an NBA talent that's there, and he's going to have
flashes of it.
Yes, you'll likely see it. Now, I had high hopes for Colin Castleton because I thought he had this knack last year of being in the right positions, and of course he's a big player, and it's a guy that I was hoping the Lakers could groom here in the next couple of years to be maybe not a Zubac, but at least somebody that could maybe be better than Jackson Hayes. Well, he's actually gotten worse since last year. So I don't know what's going to happen to Castleton. I'd say they'll try to play him out this year. If he breaks through, great. If not, then it's likely not gonna work out. But at the same time, Castleton, it's easy to have hopes for undrafted guys that show a little bit of something. I think that's the whole point of that. But not everybody can continue it. Not everybody can continue to improve. So unfortunately, some people look like they might be able to get over the hump, but then sometimes they hit the wall and they can't get over it.
I said Hinson has a good stroke. Looked really good yesterday. Today was a little bit of a struggle, but the kid's terrible on defense. I mean, the fact that he had to foul anything that moved, 7 personal fouls. They give you 10 in Summer League, just to let everyone know, for a reason. And the reason is because there are some people that just cannot play defense right now. And Hinson, unfortunately, 42% behind the arc in college. I don't know if it'll ever translate, if we'll ever get the opportunity because of how bad his defense is. But I have a feeling if he, since he's on the two-way, he's going to get plenty of time on the South Bay Lakers, Joe. Don't be surprised if you see him scoring 20 there. But the problem is, again, his defense has got to be able to be better in order for him to translate to the NBA.
Well, Hinson looks like a guy that is this year's Demoy Hodge. Demoy Hodge is a smaller player, but Hinson is, I think he's got too much in the trunk to be.
Yeah, he's a little heavy.
To be laterally coherent to play in the NBA. I think he'll get dusted.
It's a shame. It's a shame because kid's got a good stroke.
Yeah, it's just not going to work out. Unfortunately, I don't see it working out. Isn't
it so funny though? Last year we were talking so much praise about Demoy Hodge. Joe, you and I really liked him. Seemed like he had a really good stroke. Seemed like when he shot, almost looked like he wasn't going to miss. Yet the reason why the Lakers didn't keep him or give him a chance on the roster was because of his size. And who did they draft the next year? The 6'1" shooting guard that shoots worse than Demoy Hodge. That's even smaller, I believe, than Demoy Hodge. So could be around the same size.
And he's got 3 years. And don't forget, 3 years of guaranteed money.
Mm-hmm. With a fourth on a team option. Mm-hmm. That maybe LeBron will guilt them into taking. So, yeah, it's great.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But
maybe that's the deal. Maybe that's how
he would have got that contract. He would have got that contract anyway, Gerald. Come on.
Well, let me say this. Remember, we talked about the various ways, and you were saying, no, LeBron's not going to go the trouble of opting out again next year, etc. But remember, Joe, $3 million is around the price for the final year of Bronny's contract. So if the Lakers pick it up, is that a favor for them getting a pay cut now? You pay me now, I pay you later?
I don't know. I don't care.
We'll see in 3
years. I really
years.
don't care about the Laker LeBron hand-me-down money bullshit. I'm thinking about when is this team going to be competing for a championship when their rivals could end up adding one more or two more here in the next few years, and then completely having no chance at ever seeing the Lakers pass these guys. That's what I'm thinking about. I don't give a damn about any of this. I'm only commenting on it because you're asking me the questions, and because the subject keeps coming up. It's going
to continually come up.
This is a complete waste of space and time and garbage. It's garbage. It's reality TV garbage. It's Maury Povich. You are the father garbage to me. This is what this is. This is what it's become. This is who you are. This is how you're ending what will likely be your 23-year career. I just don't see LeBron turning down a $50+ million contract next year. Maybe he might. I don't know,
but maybe he'll opt out so he can get another 1+1 deal.
Oh boy, I hope not.
We'll see, my friend.
If I had if I had a choice, Gerald, honestly,
I know what you would do.
I would really, 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 really respect LeBron a lot if he just retires next year. Really, if he does. Hopefully Stone is right on that one. If he does play his fairy tale moment with whatever, and then the Lakers do what they do next year once they're out, and then decides, you know what, it's time for me to retire, I'd have a lot of respect for him to do that, because then the Lakers can start really rebuilding. And I'm hoping that AD be willing to stay. And that's what my hope for next year is that there is a path to the next step. Because I'm exhausted. I'm exhausted with LeBron James. I'm burnt out from the LeBron James tenure. And I don't wish to have anyone like LeBron James ever on the Lakers again. And I would really appreciate if Jeannie would fire Rob Pelinka and pick up some middle management that actually know what they're doing.
Because there are some options out there, as we've talked about before.
Which will likely mean that they're going to probably have to fire JJ Redick and go pick their own coach. That's usually how it works. And I'm okay with that.
You talked about 2 years for JJ and Rob to be. No?
Yeah, no. If that were to happen, I don't. Bryce isn't good enough, Kale. So he's really bad, actually, from what I'm hearing. There's likely no chance that he'll be in the league.
We'll see how high his draft stock comes up in 2 years. But again, that's not a conversation we need to have for another 2 years. But it is the Lakers Fast Break. It is Joe Soro along with me, Gerald Glassford. Thanks again for watching and listening. Truly appreciate it. The Lakers unfortunately got trounced today. Second game of the California Classic, 92-68 to the Golden State Warriors. I am concerned, Joe, because the first thing that was said by Mr. Rob Pelinka in that press conference with JJ and also as well focused on with the rookies when they had their press conference, focusing on the youth of the team to try to develop the youth. Well, I don't know what you were thinking about last year or trying to see what you could do. We've got 2 members of that youth development program that were supposedly going to be on their way in Maxwell Lewis and Colin Castleton, and they had just looked like they've regressed. In the case of Lewis, not by much because he looked bad anyways. But in Colin Castleton's case, a guy that had and showed some promise that people were really high on. Yeah, it doesn't look good, Joe. So again, it is only the second Summer League game. There's still several more to play. There's one on Wednesday, California Classic, before they head out to Vegas this weekend. So we can't put all of our eggs in one basket, but with Dalton Connect, it's okay, I guess, to go ahead and have him feel out, have him struggle, get all the stuff out of the way so we can get a better Dalton Connect coming on the other side of Las Vegas. But for these guys that are in their second year of doing this, Joe, they're supposed to be dominating. They're supposed to be at a different level. And right now, I just don't see it, Joe.
I wouldn't say that. I was expecting Maxwell Lewis to dominate.
Or play well. How about that?
No, I didn't.
Outside of a stretch of the first game, he has not played well.
I didn't expect Maxwell Lewis to play well because he's not good. Castleton, I thought, might have improved this year because I saw some good things last year, but he's gotten worse, it looks like. And then Connect is 17. Connect is possibly a top 5 pick in this draft that dropped to 17. It's almost like they learned their lesson last year and actually picked what could be possibly the 4th best player in this draft at 17, just like Whitmore last year was the 4th rated player last year in the draft.
Yeah. And we let him go walk on by. So
I always say if you make a mistake and then you make up for it, at least you have that. And they did. The problem is after that pick, they wasted a lot of time on this family garbage and didn't focus enough on trying to get players that matter. Whether it's the 55 pick or not, there was too much dialogue going on about this insignificant player because it was a family member, which is just stupid.
BTS says Khalil Ware had 36 points, 18 rebounds, and 5 block shots. Obviously, a very impressive performance in the California Classic for the Miami Heat. That's someone who was picked just ahead of the Los Angeles Lakers. So maybe some good signs there for the Miami Heat. I know Jaime Jaquez Jr., I remember him in last year's California Classic. He came right out of the gate and started playing well. So sometimes it just clicks right away. And for a guy like Dalton Connect, I'm hoping, again, by the time we get from Vegas, we can say a lot nicer things, a lot better things about him. Bronny James, again, 1 year in college, actually not even a full year in college. So I'm not expecting a whole lot from him going forward, at least at this point in time. What my concern is, like you said, you're having issues because he's the 55 pick and you think they wasted the 55 pick. Okay, I get it. But for me, if anybody else after that was picked after or is undrafted starts to really play well in this league, that's going to really get me. That's going to really get me mad on why they wasted that pick on Bronny James.
It's the worst part about it is not the 55th pick. It's about the sweat equity that they used on this whole fiasco is the issue. You're not focused on. It's like hiring
26 and 11.
So here, I'm going to give you an example that everyone's going to relate for. I mean, everyone's going to relate to. It's like a company hiring someone who. It's like hiring someone who isn't qualified, but because there's this honor system within the business, legacy, I should say. There's a legacy and there's a process there sometimes with companies and in general and anything, fraternities, whatever. And deep down that this person doesn't really know how to manage or work in a particular area, but because of the legacy, because of who's been at the company and that company has helped that person has helped that company do great things, well, they're going to hire their son or daughter or whatever. And yet they know that person can't do the job, but they hire him anyway. They're now wasting their time on a person who's not going to help their bottom line. And worse than that is they've had to position themselves in that decision making and preparing when they needed someone that can do the job. They desperately need someone to do the job. And now they're actually hiring someone that's not qualified. The not qualified thing that is big right now in all businesses because people are trying to meet certain quotas. There's certain agendas that are tied to it. When you are trying to have a good business and anything you do, and it's even more important in sports, you have to hire the best. Equal opportunity is not the same as equal outcome. The outcome needs to be based off talent. And the Lakers don't do that. They've followed the line on a lot of the industries out there now that they're trying to meet some kind of an emotional feeling, trying to help things. And I'm not a believer in that. And I never, ever will be. There will never be a time when I'm in charge of any business where I will hire anyone that isn't qualified. And believe me when I say this, almost everyone that I've brought into my business has sucked ass. And I refuse to expand based off that in the way I want. A lot of people care about money. A lot of people are willing to deal with things. No, I will not. I want talented people, and I only grow as that talent comes, and it takes time. You got to find those needle in the haystacks every now and then to continue to build. And if you don't do that, you might run a successful business. The Lakers will still be successful. LeBron will still be successful, but you'll be McDonald's. You'll be McDonald's. You'll go to McDonald's and you'll get they'll say that the ice cream machine doesn't work. The employees look like they don't want to be there. Their food sucks. I want to be In-N-Out Burger. I don't want to be McDonald's. I want to be able to go and I want people to come to us and say, man, you're always available. You always have fresh food. You always treat everybody with respect. Anything that goes wrong, you take care of it. Class A, class act business. But most don't care about that. Most just want to get what they want, take advantage of the situation, and go on.
Just want to clarify, Kalu Ware points in 2 games at the California Classic. That's still pretty good. Struggled in his first game, but today looked dominant with 26 points. I think he had a double-double. So, really good showing so far for Kalu Ware today. Lakers don't have anybody that's had that kind of success as of yet. Although, again, I'm expecting Dalton to connect at some point in time to have a game that looks more like what we're expecting. So I'm not exactly too concerned about him as of yet. While he still feels everything out. But Joe, again, I think it's a culture. I think when you start accepting getting your ass handed to you, like the Lakers have had their ass handed to them in the first 2 summer league games, I think it's a culture. I think it's something where you get used to it. And by the time it gets into training camp, by the time it gets into the start of the season, it just becomes part of the norm. And if I was JJ Redick, I would get out there tomorrow at practice and say, this has got to change. Whether I step in as coach or what have you, Joe, I just think something has got to change.
I can guarantee you that's not what they're doing. Yeah, and again, these guys are they're gonna pull every excuse out of every orifice you can imagine. They'll create their own orifice to make that excuse. I mean, there's really nothing endearing of this team. Really, 90% of this team is lackluster. I don't identify with this team. There was a time when I remember I was watching the 2009 teams, the 2010 teams, heck, the 2001 team. I remember talking to my buddy one time. I was like, man, when they start going on that run after Fish got back from his ankle injury, I'm just like, these guys are just. You got Derek Fisher, Kobe Bryant, Rick Fox, Robert Horry. Robert Horry was finishing games at that point, even though Horace Grant was a huge asset that year. He doesn't get enough credit playing that last really good year in his career in 2001. He was a huge difference maker. He had an unbelievable game 2 during the playoff run that year too. Unbelievable, where he just went off, turned into almost like the Klay Thompson of power forwards. He just couldn't miss. And then of course Shaq. I'm like sitting there, I'm like, Shaq, Horry, Fox, Kobe, and Fish. I mean, you have 3 clutch players on that team. One guy who was our dog, which was Rick Fox, and then you had the baddest mother effer on the planet in Shaquille O'Neal. I mean, come on. That's what I identified with. And then you fast forward to LO and Gasol were more suave than power and attitude. They were more calculated, but that was just as beautiful too, because when you watched Paul Gasol play, he played beautiful basketball, and Lamar was such a beautiful person on and off the court, and his game was beautiful. You were just obsessed with what they did. And then you had Fish still there, and Kobe, and Phil Jackson probably coached one of his best years was 2009. I thought that was one of his best seasons in his career. I still say his 94 coaching year was one of the best. The best coaching year I ever saw in my time was Greg Popovich in 2014. And to me, when I look at those teams, even if it's not the Lakers, I get, you appreciate how they elevated a sport, a game, and made it fun to watch. You watch the 14 Spurs make the prime LeBron James Miami Heat team look like they don't belong in the NBA. That to me is an amazing feat. And then you look at back-to-back championships, three-peats. You go to you're one bad foul away from beating the Knicks without Michael Jordan. Like, to me, that's what I like to see, instead of watching this used diaper of a personality of a team, and it continues because it doesn't matter, Joe. It's just a summer league game. Okay. What are you gonna say when they're 12 and 15? I keep hearing the same excuse. Oh, it's Darvin Ham. Oh, before it was the injury to Jared Vanderbilt. We're waiting on Jared Vanderbilt now to decide who we are. Jared Vanderbilt was going to help us win 5 more games. Jared Vanderbilt was going to help the Lakers rebound better? Really? Come on, people. And by the way, if you're not playing, you're a detriment to the team. Talent.
But if that's the case,
availability is the greatest ability in sports. You're not going to know how good you are unless you're available. You got to be available first before you can be great. And most of these so-called role players are always not available. So
it's so bad. Our audience is actually talking about acai bowls, hot dogs, and carbonara. Joe,
good job, guys.
That's how bad it is.
That's
how bad the Lakers are right now.
I would go to Five Guys if a meal didn't cost $45.
This is true.
That's just a principle decision at that point. Even though they're good hamburgers, I'm not paying that much.
They're not that good
for a meal. Exactly.
No, they're not that good for a burger. I mean, a hot dog. They're all right. They're pretty good, but yeah, like you say, it's just too pricey. And then you go to In-N-Out. In-N-Out, it is what it is. A lot of people really like it. I think it's okay. I think it's good. Had better, but that's just me. But once again, it is the Lakers Fast Break. It is Joe Soro along with me, Gerald Glassford. Thanks so much for watching, listening. A little bit of over an hour in. Truly appreciate you joining us. Again, I know a lot of people out there are still kind of like trying to get back into this thing so soon after the draft, so soon after free agency. Joe, I think it's an acceptance. It's starting to seep in, Joe. I still think a move is coming for the Lakers. At least I want to hope that. I want to think that. I want to believe that. But what if it doesn't, Joe? What if we roll into training camp with this roster? That's a big concern I have as well, because this roster, it cannot compete with the top of the Western Conference. Forget Boston. Forget that right now. Just in your own conference, they are not there with the roster they currently have.
I'm more interested in seeing how they come out the gate again, because this is a team that hasn't won an opener since 2013. How many coaches?
Probably be on the road.
How many coaches have we had since then? 5?
Yes.
So are we going to keep blaming every coach on sucking out the gate? Whether they've had good players, whether they don't have good players, whether they have marginal players, whether they have low expectations, whether I expect. Either way, they don't value making a statement. There's no demand to be great. And I don't identify with that. I don't relate to that as a fan. And
Pale Fox says, I think there's a good chance the Lakers win the chip this year because it's in the script that we meet Denver and beat them the third try and LeBron retires.
Stop playing NBA 2K, Pale Fox, and get back into the real world. You need to give me facts on why you would even think that. Why do you think the Lakers will win it next year?
I believe, Joe, because I believe.
Believing and praying for those who are religious, I'm sorry, but I don't believe in any of that garbage. Okay, I don't believe in karma. By the way, I prefer to serve my own karma instead of waiting or just hoping the world does it. No, I don't believe in any of that. I really don't. I believe in doing things right away. And if you can't do them right away, try to get there as best you can. And if you can't get there, and you did your best, then that's a good thing. Then you can still hang your head up and say, hey, I did everything I could to make it work. This team has not done that, and they haven't done that for a while. They're not capable. They're not talented enough to do it. But they keep pressing on. Rob Pelinka should never have been a general manager of an NBA team.
Pale Fox goes on to say, we were in the Western Conference Finals and lost to the same team again the next year. It only makes sense. So you lose 8 out of 9 to one team in 2 separate years, in 2 separate
Subscriber,
rounds, on 2 separate
Cool.
occasions. And you say just because it's sheer destiny, like out of a bad movie, you think it's going to go ahead and just magically the chip is going to come our way.
So I'm hearing that the Lakers made it to the Western Conference Finals 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And what does that mean exactly? Well, what happened this year when they had more health this year?
Better shooting for the outside.
And better shooting. What happened? Oh, if we don't play Denver. Denver is the champ before this year. When do you think they weren't going to play Denver? And what makes you think they would have beat the Celtics in the finals should they have gotten through Denver? Oh, they're going to beat Dallas. Oh, they're going to beat Minnesota on that run too, right? They were getting their butts kicked by the Kings and the Warriors before the year ended. If those two teams didn't eat dirt towards the end, they would have been a 10 seed. Then what? Lakers barely made the playoffs, and they were fortunate that Zion Williamson got hurt in the end of the fourth. He was cooking the whole game. He's having his career game. And then came up lame, and then the Lakers were able to take advantage of it. And that's what we're always talking about. The Lakers need that to ascend. And then when they run into that wall where no one is getting hurt, you run into Jamal Murray ending them in 2 games when it matters.
Let's just take one part of this equation, for example, Joe. I mentioned before on numerous occasions how bad the rebounding was for the Lakers. Lakers gave up more offensive rebounds than virtually any team except for one. So knowing this going into the offseason, to build your team or add pieces, as you say, to this team that could better fit the needs of the team, what did they go out and do for a front line, Joe? Tell me, Joe, what did they do to add to the front line to help alleviate the poor rebounding issues? Nothing. Exactly.
I was looking
Absolutely
for something around here, but I don't have anything around.
Nothing is fine for audience.
I was going to say donut, but sometimes you get the custard-filled donuts. So there's
you mean like what Maxwell Lewis did today? Yeah, okay. That's right.
Yeah.
Donut.
So if we're talking about a traditional glazed donut, that's pretty much what the Lakers are. They're a glazed donut. They're a bagel. They're a hollowed-out bagel.
There are glaring needs that they did not address, Joe. Do you really think out there that D'Angelo Russell and Austin Reeves as a starting backcourt is going to get you over the hump in the Western Conference? You've had that backcourt, Joe, for 2 straight seasons as your starting backcourt and haven't gotten done. Yes, it's against Denver both times. But still, it didn't get the job done. What did you do to address that need?
They've won 1 game against this team. And
Dalton Connect, you're putting a lot of hopes on him.
Yeah, that's not very smart. You can't expect a rookie and a rookie who plays in the manner he plays in to be that savior. It's not very realistic. The Lakers did nothing to help their only 2-way player on this team to boot. And that doesn't get talked about enough. We hear all this LeBron, Bronny garbage and all this. We signed Max Christie, yet we're sitting here waiting like patience on a monument. You like that, Tony Egg? You like that one, if you're still listening. And for someone to help AD. And they didn't do jack squat for their main guy. For the guy if LeBron retires next year, will still be here. How does he feel? Maybe he's just over it. Maybe he's just going to enjoy his life.
But that's the thing, Kubina, because Kubina's saying if the Lakers hear the fan base complaints about our advice of what the team needs, why don't they value maybe the fan base's right to use for advice? Sometimes Lakers front office. Maybe they don't listen. They tune us out.
No one cares about what fans think, and in a lot of ways they shouldn't. But the fans complain, but still watch the games and go to the games and pay money to it. They don't give it. They don't care. You're still watching. So what do they have to? They don't have to do anything. The Bulls haven't been relevant all but maybe, let's say, 1 year really.
The Derrick Rose years.
The Derrick Rose years. Yeah, but it was really 1 year
before the knees.
Right.
Before the knees.
Really 1 year where they threatened to possibly get to the finals. They lost to Cleveland in the Eastern Conference Finals. The year I believe Rose won the MVP in 2011.
Oh, was it? Okay, it's 11.
It's 2011. Right. Yeah. And yeah, other than that, the Bulls have been irrelevant since 1998 when Jordan retired, and yet they're still selling out, making money because they're still living off the Michael Jordan thing. People still want to go to the United Center and see Jordan's statue and be in the building that Jordan built and all that crap, and look at the Jumbotron while there's a commercial so they can see themselves and brag to their family and friends that they were at the game. That's what people care about. They don't give a damn about the game like we do.
Okay. Well, she wasn't actually a billionaire from birth. If you talk about Jeannie Buss, because she's old enough. Remember, she's in her 60s when her father was still what? USC at that time, Joe?
Mm-hmm.
Or yeah. So don't think she was a billionaire from birth, Pale Fox, but okay. Yeah, it is what it is. But I will say, though, it is the Lakers' fast break. The Lakers, unfortunately, lose today. Second time in Summer League. They're now 0-2. Next game is on Wednesday. It's going to be on ESPN once again. Try to provide you coverage on playback.tv/Lakers fast break. I know we lost our entire audience because of how bad it went today. That's the problem, Joe. This is a very patient fan base, but I think the patience is starting to run out.
I think there's equally good and bad right now in terms of what people are seeing this coming year. A lot of positive delusion.
Mm-hmm.
I was reading some stuff on another Lakers site where people have said or wrote, that hey, Darvin Ham was a terrible coach. JJ will probably help us win a few more games, and we're in a whole different position. Thinking that they're still from this last year.
I'm thinking no other teams did anything to improve.
Right, and then this, you've seen Sacramento who were at the brink, and they improved. Golden State, I think, improved by doing the acquisitions that they had, at least better than a 10. Any team that was below the Lakers, and we're still waiting on the Hornet. We're still waiting on the Pelicans. If they don't trade Brandon Ingram, and of course we have to see if Zion Williamson takes this next year seriously. If he does, comes into camp in really good shape, they're now going to be an issue too. And then the Houston Rockets are going to likely be better. So the only teams that are not going to be good is Portland, Utah, and San Antonio.
And please don't start the CJ McCollum rumors. I already saw them today. Please don't start them. Why would you want CJ McCollum's bad contract here?
I don't know.
Is that a better option than D'Angelo Russell?
$7,000. I'm not despite what you're seeing here, I don't do that kind of stuff. I don't go yell at children and spit on statues and yell at people. I couldn't care less.
He wants Bronny to succeed. The problem is, from everything that he sees, he doesn't think Bronny will succeed. Am I speaking correctly, Joe?
He's not good. He did not come. He was not drafted to play in the NBA. He was drafted to fulfill a dream by LeBron James. That's all this is. And and the irritation from it is the fact that they don't admit it. It has nothing to do with nepotism. It has nothing to do with nepotism. He's not good enough to play in the NBA. This much discussion and talk, it took away from the real focus of trying to improve this team. I thought I made myself clear in some of these examples today. I don't care about nepotism. I don't care about that. I care about talent. Is this guy talented enough to win? No, he's not. He is never going to play in the NBA as a regular player. He will be playing this year, and I don't know what the hell's going to happen after this year. He's not good enough. And for you to give him a 3-year guaranteed contract is laughable. He should have gotten a 1-year guaranteed contract and then a team option next year. That's it. It's a joke. This is a joke. This is reality TV. And I'll
should have put him on a two-way.
I'll say it, and I'll say it again. And I'm going to say it, and I'm going to say it again. And you're all going to see it. You're all going to see it. I wouldn't even put him on a two-way. He is not good enough to play in the NBA. He wasn't good enough playing in college. How the hell is this guy going to play in the NBA? The jump from college to the NBA is huge. It is huge. It's bigger than any gap in any sport. Because you can hide players in the NFL. It's usually a quarterback. You can hide the quarterback. You're probably wondering what the hell that means. It means you can't touch the quarterback. A quarterback can go through an entire game and not get hit. You can't really hide playing basketball at this level. You have to run with the talent that's out there. You have to play defense. You have to play offense. You have to get to the basket. You have to shoot. You have to post up. You have to get to a spot. You got to communicate. You got to tell certain guys where they got to go. Like, you're playing a whole game, whereas a quarterback can just play one side of the game, and they're so protected. Sometimes they don't even get touched because teams are worried about penalties. You've got to be clear here, guys. I feel like I'm repeating myself, and I know sometimes it's newer people here. But you all really need to open your ears and stop talking a little bit. This has nothing to do with nepotism. This has nothing to do with the 55th pick on whether it's successful or not. It's a matter of you were wasting your time for a hallmark moment versus trying to enhance this team to make it a championship contender. And then you have a lot.
Well, I was going to say, on the first time the Lakers get routed, they're going to bring Bronny in at the fourth quarter, and then LeBron's going to want to come back into the game just to make that hallmark moment you were talking about.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm going to be curious to see if the Lakers start out 0-5. What's going to happen then? We haven't gotten the schedule yet, but I'm curious to see what happens. You have to look at this from the chum that you throw in the water. What happens when you throw chum in the water? Gerald?
What happens when you throw chum in the water?
What happens?
Probably not good.
Right, because the sharks start coming in, right?
Oh, yeah. A lot of shark bites lately.
Yeah, right. So I want you all to get ready. The Lakers are throwing chum on the court. And man, guys, if you don't think guys like Dylan Brooks, Patrick Beverly, And that's just the simple, the guys that we know, talk. There's a lot of smack talkers in the NBA. And I'm telling you right now, and I'll keep repeating this, if I'm any NBA coach, I am burning that kid every time he's on the court.
Anthony Edwards.
Anthony Edwards is gonna, oh my God, if you thought he was bad this last year, and Anthony Edwards can back up his talk. He's not Dylan Brooks or Patrick Beverly. I could see Anthony Edwards jumping from the elbow and smacking it and looking at LeBron, looking at his family, looking at his ancestors, everybody. That's something that I would encourage. I would encourage it. I would encourage, if I'm the opposing coach, I'm like, guys, we're playing the LA Lakers today. Austin Reeves can't play defense. Rui can't make a layup. And D'Angelo, as long as you're up in his grill, he's gonna fold like a chair. We only really have to deal with AD and LeBron on the offensive side. And by the way, when they bring in Max Christie and the Bronny Jameses of the world, I want you all to take that ball and I want you to put it through the hoop, through their ass. I'd say it just like that. If you say that to these studs that play in the NBA, that like that kind of stuff, that want to be motivated like that, man, you could light everyone up with that kind of talk. And that's what I would do.
I have a feeling that, yes, part of the reason why you're back is obviously because so many people reached out to you to ask you to come back. But there's got to be a small part of you that's ready to say, I told you so, in your inimitable way when we see the inevitable happen this season.
The reason why I didn't want to watch is because it's hypocritical. It's hypocritical for me to not want to support people that I don't like and then still support them. But I'm kind of in a quandary at this point. There is an entertainment show right now that we're doing, and people enjoy watching us. And I was minding my business. I felt like half of Australia was messaging me off air. Joe, don't go. I thought the first time I read it, I'm like, thanks, guys. Well, sorry, I'm gonna have to pass. All of a sudden, the second message comes, and then a third message, and a fourth message. I'm like, Jesus, really? Now I felt bad. Then I felt bad because, guys, I can do so much stuff.
Don't blame Australia. I love my Aussie friends.
I'm not blaming them. I was touched. I was very, very, very touched, and it made me feel like, okay, I at least have an excuse that makes sense. And I don't like listening to myself too, guys. Believe me, I know there's people out there that think I'm obnoxious and a blowhard.
Really?
I get it. It's not everybody's cup of tea, but there are some people out there that like it. And
trust me, I read the comments.
It's a battle of numbers. That's really what it is. Some people like your stuff, some people don't. When I'm doing my work, it's the same situation. I have a problem with usually the baby boomer generation, guys that are in their early 70s. There's this, I call it the size battle. Not all, but I've noticed that the baby boomer age tends to kind of look at me and get worried. I don't know if they like my delivery. I don't know if I sound like somebody they didn't like, but there is. And I'm a professional guy. I'm speaking in business when I'm doing business. I don't have this kind of freelance kind of discussion that I would have on the show. And they don't like it. There's a trust factor that I think that usually gets in the way. They don't really, and it's usually guys that have a lot of money. Guys that have a lot of money that are baby boomers. It's a size. They're trying to compare sizes. It's that kind of stuff. and I'm not particularly, I don't really like people that are rich. Rich people are massively obnoxious typically. I don't like being around them. I don't like conversing with them typically. And maybe they sense that.
So funny because I'm just reading some of the comments, some that have been published and some that have been held for review. I'm going to go ahead and say one right now, one based off of comments that you made on our show yesterday from @user_OK. He has a whole bunch of numbers and stuff after it. I can't repeat that. This is why so many people hate the Lakers. To say no one cares about the Hornets or Pelicans is the sheer arrogance that makes this organization hated outside of LA. Sure, those teams don't bring the history or eyes or media attention the Lakers do, but if the league only wants them, then they only have teams. Then why only have teams in LA, New York, Chicago, etc.? Fans want to see parity and smaller market teams win sometimes, and also want to see franchises like the Lakers, Yankees, Cowboys fall on their ass over and over again.
It's not true. That's a facade. The Dallas Cowboys are worth $10 billion by the books, not what they'd sell for. They're worth 10. They're the most valuable franchise in all of sports on the planet. They have sucked ass for almost 30 years, and people still care.
I've got another one for you.
And I think I did respond to that post, by the way.
You did. It didn't look like it.
Yeah, I did respond to it, and I said that I have some friends that live in Baton Rouge and in South Carolina.
I think that's another one.
Just to let you all know, when I talked to my buddy in Baton Rouge, the Pelicans are like the 6th favorite team in that city. I'm meaning New Orleans.
How about this one? Based on comments,
they care about LSU. They care about obviously the Saints.
Mm-hmm.
They care about LSU baseball, LSU football, and so on in that area. They don't give two shits about the Pelicans, and that's people that are 15 minutes away. Metairie, Baton Rouge, whatever little town that you have there in that area, they don't care about the Pelicans.
@WJG6 said it's completely ignorant to say that no one wants to play with the Lakers because of LeBron. Name another superstar that has taken a significant pay cut to play with another superstar. It's about the money. These dudes want to make money. I know that's a difficult concept for folks to grasp because they think rich folks should give up their money for their wants, but that's not how life works. I think that was based off your comments saying that people don't want to come here to play with LeBron.
You guys honestly think that people want to play with LeBron?
Maybe on Team USA.
Let's talk about 2010. Why did LeBron go to Miami? This is before all this stuff with the Lakers. Let's go back when it was LeBron's prime. No one wanted to go to Cleveland, and no one wanted to play with LeBron. In order to play with LeBron, Dwayne Wade said, "Get your ass over here and go." Chris Bosh is already coming. He's already going to Miami. So if you want to have a chance of playing and winning, you're going to have to come to Miami. So no one wants to play with LeBron.
Okay.
Kyrie Irving proved that, didn't he?
Yes. Mm-hmm. And now, obviously LeBron is still feeling the effects from that. Still very hurt that the Lakers didn't get it done. And Kyrie almost won the championship.
Well, you have to look at the situation at that time. Kyrie had some not so nice things to say about a very big demographic in LA and was killing every PR moment he could at that time. They weren't going to bring him in. And then, of course, as soon as LeBron started climaxing over himself about Kyrie right before the finals. It ended up putting a hex on Kyrie, and then Kyrie disappeared in the finals. I think that's another part with LeBron that drives me nuts is his constant fawning over everything. Oh my God, this person is so amazing on Twitter. Do we have to hear it? Just go tell them. Why do we need to hear this? That's girl stuff. That's that girl fake garbage. That girl, oh, you have such a pretty dress. Amazing. I love you. You ever see that on there? Whenever a famous person does something at the beach with their phone and they're just like, living the life. Living the life, yeah.
Don't wreck anything, please. In your house. All right.
I'm fine.
Okay, there you go. But that may do it for our comments there for today as far as some of the major ones. Although, again, there's some nice ones that were held for review that I could go ahead on and on. But yeah, I digress on that. But once again, it is the Lakers fast break. The Lakers, again, they get trounced at the California Classic. They're now 0-2 as they finish out the California Classic Summer League on Wednesday against a game against the Miami Heat. So we'll hopefully have that on playback.tv/Lakers fast break for you. But for us, it's still a busy week where hopefully the Lakers will find a way to go ahead and make some changes and needed additions to the roster. But Joe, as you're typing away once again, any last thoughts before we head on out?
I think I've had enough thoughts today. I think everybody saw my thoughts today. I'm just gonna observe, watch, listen, and analyze.
Legend, I got to get you back on soon, my friend. Always great to have you here. Same thing for everybody else as far as our regular panelists are concerned. Jamie, get better. He's trying to see if he can make it on tonight, but looks like he is resting up for a long week ahead. But again, once again, it is the Lakers fast break. Joe, again, you and I will probably be here tomorrow talking some more about what's going on or what's not going on or what needs to go on in the land of the Lakers. But yeah, the continuous issues with the Lakers not being able to make changes. Yeah, it's not good. Not good at all. But again, Joe, do you see any hope for the Lakers getting in? Like I said, finishing up that $5 million mini mid-level. Do you think that's something that they can go ahead and utilize still before the end of the summer?
I don't see why they wouldn't.
Well, they haven't so far.
They're going to have to drop some salary. Can they do it? They're going to have to give up probably second-round picks if they're not going to do a trade where they don't have to.
Yeah.
Maybe they might not use it. I don't know. Sydney, one more time. If you keep repeating what you're saying, you're going to be gone.
I got my finger on the button, Sydney. Got my finger on the button.
We don't put up with bums. Why? Good. You finally said something different. Just say something different. You better not be who I think you are.
Let's hope not. But again,
I'm trying to read the comments right now.
Yeah, it's going off on Kyrie and that controversy.
Kyrie more so than the anti-Semitic stuff. It was also the fact that he was just burning everything everywhere he went. But what you all need to understand is Kyrie in the finals was a good example on why you don't sacrifice a lot for him, because he can be contained. He can be controlled on the court with the right players. As good of a ball handler as he is, as good of a shooter as he is, his defense stinks. And when you take away his invincibility, he disappears. It's why he stunk for so long before LeBron came back to Cleveland, and it also played a part in a lot of those losses against the Clippers. I mean, against the Warriors in the finals. I know that Durant didn't help. That was a tall task to ask, but
all the controversies from Brooklyn, like the COVID thing, the flat Earth thing, the supporting of a movie that has anti-Semitic tropes thing, those things were the reason why we were reluctant to go ahead and bring Kyrie in.
Well, I
support Kyrie coming in.
For the record, I didn't care about any of that.
That's you.
Yeah.
But there were others out there that
those
did.
who do care, the same people who do care about that stuff are the same people, by the way, that will take a PPP loan and take money away from hardworking Americans who are struggling while they're sitting in their ivory towers and their Malibu homes. So
yeah, Kurt,
just remember that, folks. Remember that. I want you guys to think about those type of things. When somebody is sitting up on some tree, higher than you, talking about how, well, you shouldn't do that. Well, I would highly recommend you getting something where you can take down that branch.
And to Kyrie's credit, he has been a good teammate so far, Kurt. I will give him credit for that. Absolutely a ton of credit for that. And you thought after he signed the contract, because remember, Joe, he was a pending free agent at the time in his first year in Dallas. They tanked the last couple of games to stay away from the playoffs. They signed him to that, I think it was a 3-year deal at that time. And he could have gone off the deep end again, Joe, but he had stayed really good, had a really productive season, stayed on the court, and they almost won the NBA championship. So, yeah, credit. I just like we're all ready to bash Kyrie, as this show has in the past. Maybe not Joe, but we have in the past for some of the things he said or done in the past. I got to give him praise for when he is there as a good teammate, as he was this year for Dallas.
So we want to give him props for being a good teammate.
Well, again, he looks like he's putting himself back on a good path. So. That's all I'll say.
Aren't you supposed to be a good teammate?
Well, he certainly wasn't one in Brooklyn. I think Kevin Durant and James Harden will test to that. Just imagine, Joe, you had that kind of talent. All three of those guys there still in their prime, and they blew it. Absolutely blew it.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
that was the
blame can't all. Well, I was going to say the blame can't all go to Kyrie, but man, he was sure a good part of it.
Well, you had three grown men who have the temperament of a spoiled brat at her 16th birthday party. I mean, you can't get more bitchy than Durant,
subscriber, huh?
Kyrie, cool. and Harden.
Thank you, Hassan, for subscribing.
I mean, come on, you put three of the most estrogen-filled men in the NBA. What did you think was going to happen? The only one bigger.
That's why you can't do this on paper. That's why
the only one worse might be LeBron. I mean, come on, let's. And the sad thing is that was the seed that got planted that ended the LeBron AD run. They were worried about competing with the big three. They went and got Russell Westbrook for half their defense and draft capital, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
Why would you give the first round pick for Westbrook? What the hell were you thinking?
2 first round.
You guys, I know we were supposed to end the show here, but there's a guy on Facebook that had a really good list that he put together, and I do want to run it down before we head out, if you don't mind.
Yeah, sure.
It's a pretty
I was
extensive.
going to answer to something that Hernan as well.
It's a pretty extensive list, so I'm gonna do my best to kind of read it quick.
Well, let me just say this then. Hernan says, Gerald, I truly believe the whole NBA is against us. This isn't the deal as far as where the Chris Paul trade got nixed by David Stern. This is a deal where a lot of this is self-made, Hernan. A lot of these issues and problems we have are self-made, and it starts right at the top as the guy who's making those decisions. This roster is constructed by none other than Rob Pelinka. He can't blame Magic anymore. We can't blame all these other things in the past. It is now Rob's team. It is now Rob's creation. So a lot of this is is the Lakers' own doing, and that's the part that hurts the most.
So I'm going to run a list here. It's pretty extensive. Some of it is really bad. Some of it is bad. Some of it is but it'll give you an idea of it's not just like 5 or 6 decisions. We're talking about 3 pages worth. So terrible decisions that Rob Pelinka has made since LeBron James has signed with the Lakers. And LeBron signed in 2018, right? So I'm going to try to – it's going to jump around from most recent to, since then. So they had a very public announcement that they were going after Dan Hurley and failed to get him. They missed on Tyronn Lue because they refused to give him a 4th year. They drafted Lonzo over Jason Tatum. They failed to trade for Kyrie Irving where, at the deadline when he might have made a difference, especially a year ago. Failed to land Kawhi Leonard in free agency, who then signed with the Clippers. In 2018-19, Pelinka surrounded the best player in the world, LeBron James, with Lonzo Ball, who had the worst jump shot knowing out of the gate, out of college. There was a young Brandon Ingram, and then they decided to bring in guys like Lance Stevenson, Michael Beasley, and Tyson Chandler to fulfill the roster. They couldn't land Jimmy Butler in that same year that Kawhi was supposed to come, and that's something that doesn't get discussed enough. And I'm gonna maybe discuss that maybe down the road a little more, because we don't. That doesn't get talked about enough. They chose THT over Caruso, whom, by the way, was later traded for Patrick Beverley, which is just like an insult with sand, with salt, with just everything bad. They drafted Jalen Hood-Schifino. He fired the championship coach that shouldn't have been fired, in Frank Vogel. They got Andre Drummond, who was supposed to start. He didn't get the chance to start, and that ended up becoming a fiasco. They let Malik Monk go out of free agency. It's
that one I don't think they could have helped because they had a limit on how much they could sign him for.
Well, again, it's always something, right?
Yeah.
They chose Westbrook over DeRozan the first time. Remember they were talking about getting DeRozan,
yep.
And they were also talking about getting Buddy Hield.
Remember, Kuzma said thought he was going to be on his way to Sacramento
right.
as well.
Buddy Hield was supposed to be the guy. There was also talk that DeRozan might be an option too. This list is long, guys. It's long. I think I'm going to stop though after a couple more because this list just keeps going and going further and further. I'm going to end it with they hired Darvin Ham, and then of course the year of the AARP signings, they signed Kent Bazemore, Trevor Ariza as rotational players to help the Westbrook LeBron AD team of 2022. There's so much more, but this is what it is. And at what point do we keep rewarding horrid management? Are you going to still use the Kobe thing with Pelinka? Is this going to be the rest of our life because he knows Kobe? The Lakers, if they are to really, really help themselves, they play this year out and they ask LeBron to go home. They ask him to go home. Please retire. We want to start new and go from there. And then at that point, I would fire Rob the second the season's over, and get somebody in here that knows what they're doing. They're going to likely fire JJ Redick. They'll eat the money, and then let that new GM pick their guy. That's how it's likely going to be. But I have a strong feeling that it's not going to happen. I have a strong feeling that LeBron's going to play 2 more years at the very least, and we're going to have to deal with this for 2 more years.
Once again, it's the Lakers Fast Break. It is Gerald Glassford along with Joe Soro. Joe Soro, you can find him on a daily basis as Ox1947 at LakersBall.com. And of course, Simblades with a Y.com. Also me, Gerald Glassford. Again, we'll be providing you as best coverage we can on the Los Angeles Lakers. No matter how bad or good it gets, we're here for you, one way or the other, providing you real, honest feedback on the Lakers. No flowers or fake optimism when it's not really there. We tell you the truth on the Lakers. We call it like we see it. And you're here and we thank you for it. And hopefully you'll continue to be part of what we're doing right here at the Lakers Fast Break Podcast.
Da, 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 da.